From Man of Steel to Aquaman, the DC Extended Universe promised to redefine the superhero genre, with iconic heroes like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman leading the charge. But somewhere along the way, that promise crumbled. What went wrong? How did a franchise full of iconic characters and unparalleled potential end in chaos? But before we dive into the drama, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on deep dives like this one. It helps us grow and keeps you in the loop with all things movies and superheroes. The rise, DC's foundations of superhero dominance. In the early 2010s, DC Comics was in a strong position within popular culture. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy had redefined superhero films, achieving both critical acclaim and commercial success. The Dark Knight, 2008, had become the highest-grossing superhero movie of its time, proving that DC was capable of producing sophisticated and mature stories. Beyond cinema, DC excelled with its animated series, such as Justice League Unlimited, and video games like the Arkham series, which became instant classics. At the time, Marvel Studios was still finding its footing, with Iron Man, 2008, acting as the foundation for what would later become the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. DC, on the other hand, had decades of history and a roster of iconic characters, from Superman to Wonder Woman. Unlike Marvel, which struggled with licensing issues for major characters like Spider-Man and the X-Men, DC had the cinematic rights to all its heroes. Despite these advantages, Warner Bros., DC's parent company, was slow to act. Marvel's ambitious plan for a shared cinematic universe, announced in 2008, took the industry by storm, culminating in the Avengers, 2012. DC and Warner Bros. Recognized the potential of this model but were already years behind. Their solution? A cinematic universe that could replicate Marvel's success but at an accelerated pace. The DCEU officially began with Man of Steel, 2013, directed by Zack Snyder. The film reintroduced Superman with a modern, grounded approach, grossing $668 million worldwide. While it faced criticism for its tone and controversial decisions such as Superman killing Zod, it was largely seen as a strong starting point. Warner Bros. Decided to double down on Snyder's vision, announcing a slate of interconnected films that would culminate in a Justice League team-up. The missteps, rushing to compete with Marvel. While Marvel carefully built its cinematic universe over several phases, DC attempted to fast-track its success. The second entry in the DCEU, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, 2016, aimed to introduce not only Batman, Ben Affleck, but also Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, and set up future Justice League members. The stakes were monumental, and expectations soared. However, the film became one of the most polarizing superhero movies ever made. While some praised Snyder's bold, operatic style, others criticized its convoluted plot, overly grim tone, and infamous Martha scene. Despite grossing $870 million, it fell short of the billion-dollar mark expected for a film featuring two of the most iconic superheroes in history. Warner Bros.' panic became evident as they began to micromanage their films. Suicide Squad, 2016, initially marketed as a gritty anti-hero film, was heavily re-edited to match the lighter tone of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. The result was a disjointed movie that critics panned, though it still managed to gross $746 million. The breaking point, Justice League and the Snyder Cut. The DCEU's trajectory reached its most critical turning point with the release of Justice League in 2017. Initially envisioned as a two-part epic by Zack Snyder, the film was set to explore the resurrection of Superman, the rise of Darkseid, and the Justice League's struggle to unite in the face of intergalactic threats. However, a series of devastating setbacks derailed these plans. Snyder stepped away from the project after the tragic death of his daughter, leaving Warner Bros. Scrambling to finish their most ambitious project to date. In a move that would haunt the franchise, Warner Bros. Hired Joss Whedon to complete the film. Whedon, known for his work on Marvel's The Avengers, was tasked with reworking Snyder's darker vision into something more accessible and lighthearted. The results were disastrous. Whedon conducted extensive reshoots, altering significant portions of the film and injecting it with quippy humor that clashed with Snyder's established tone. The infamous decision to digitally erase Henry Cavill's mustache due to scheduling conflicts only added to the film's woes, resulting in a jarring visual effect that became a meme. The theatrical release of Justice League was met with widespread criticism. Fans lambasted its inconsistent tone, rushed storytelling, and unfinished visual effects. Financially, it was a major blow, earning just $657 million globally against a production budget estimated at $300 million, not including marketing costs. For what was supposed to be DC's equivalent to Marvel's The Avengers, the performance was nothing short of catastrophic. The aftermath was chaotic. Actors like Ben Affleck and Ray Fisher distanced themselves from the franchise, citing creative differences and allegations of mistreatment during Whedon's reshoots. Meanwhile, fans launched a relentless campaign for the release of Zack Snyder's original cut, which Warner Bros. Eventually greenlit as Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max in 2021. Though the Snyder Cut was well received and praised for its expanded scope, it came too late to salvage the DCEU's interconnected vision. Warner Bros. Had already shifted its focus to standalone projects, leaving Snyder's universe as an unresolved chapter in DC's cinematic history. Moments of hope: Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Amidst the turbulence that defined the early years of the DCEU, there were bright spots that offered a glimpse into the franchise's potential when allowed to thrive creatively. Two standout films, Wonder Woman, 2017, and Aquaman, 2018, not only captured the imagination of audiences but also provided the kind of critical and commercial success that hinted at what the DCEU could achieve with a clear vision and strong storytelling. Directed by Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman became a cultural phenomenon and a watershed moment for superhero cinema. Gal Gadot, who had already won over fans with her charismatic debut as Diana Prince in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, fully cemented herself as the definitive Wonder Woman in a film that celebrated the character's heroism, compassion, and strength. Set during World War I, the movie traced Diana's journey from the idyllic island of Themyscira to the battlefields of Europe, delivering a powerful origin story that resonated with both longtime fans and newcomers. The film's balance of action, humor, and heart set it apart from the often darker and more divisive tone of earlier DCEU entries. Jenkins infused the story with a sense of hope and optimism, qualities often associated with the character of Wonder Woman but rarely seen in the DCEU up to that point. Key moments, such as the unforgettable No Man's Land sequence, not only showcased Diana's physical prowess but also her unwavering commitment to fighting for justice and protecting the innocent. This blend of visual spectacle and emotional depth struck a chord with audiences worldwide, earning Wonder Woman $822 million at the global box office and becoming one of the most critically acclaimed films in the DCEU. Aquaman, 2018, marked another triumph for the DCEU, albeit through a vastly different approach. Directed by James Gunn, the film embraced a vibrant, adventurous tone that contrasted sharply with the darker hues of earlier entries. Jason Momoa's portrayal of Arthur Curry, a reluctant hero caught between two worlds, brought a refreshing mix of humor, charisma, and vulnerability to the character. Wan's vision for Aquaman leaned heavily into the fantastical elements of the character's mythos. The film took audiences on a journey through stunning underwater kingdoms, complete with massive battles, dazzling visuals, and creative world building. Unlike many superhero films, which often ground their settings in a heightened version of reality, Aquaman reveled in its comic book origins, offering audiences a colorful and unapologetically fun experience. Financially, Aquaman defied all expectations, grossing $1.1 billion worldwide and becoming the highest-grossing film in DC's history. This success demonstrated that audiences were still willing to engage with the DCEU when the films offered compelling characters, strong narratives, and a sense of escapism. Despite these successes, however, the DCEU's larger problems persisted. Wonder Woman and Aquaman thrived because they were relatively disconnected from the broader cinematic universe. Neither film was bogged down by the baggage of previous entries, allowing their directors to craft standalone stories that could appeal to a wide audience. Yet this very disconnection highlighted a critical flaw in the DCEU's approach. While Marvel Studios built its universe through carefully integrated narratives and consistent tonal balance, the DCEU struggled with cohesion, with its films often feeling like isolated pieces rather than parts of a unified whole. The successes of Wonder Woman and Aquaman were indeed moments of hope, but they were exceptions rather than the rule. Warner Bros.' inability to replicate these triumphs across the franchise underscored the lack of a cohesive vision guiding the DCEU. For every Wonder Woman, there was a Justice League. For every Aquaman, there was a Suicide Squad. These stark contrasts in quality and reception made it difficult for the franchise to sustain the goodwill generated by its standout entries. Ultimately, while Wonder Woman and Aquaman offered brief glimpses of what the DCEU could be, their successes were not enough to offset the broader issues plaguing the franchise. Without a unified direction or consistent quality, the DCEU struggled to build on the momentum these films provided, leaving their potential largely unrealized. The collapse, a string of box office flops. As Warner Bros. Tried to regain control of the DCEU, the franchise faced an unrelenting series of misfires. Each new release seemed to dig the cinematic universe deeper into obscurity, with audiences and critics alike losing interest. Films like Shazam! 2019 showed glimpses of hope by embracing smaller, character-driven stories. The film's lighthearted tone and emphasis on family dynamics won over a modest audience, but its $367 million box office return, while profitable, was underwhelming compared to other superhero blockbusters. Birds of Prey, 2020, aimed to capitalize on Margot Robbie's breakout portrayal of Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. Despite its stylistic flair and strong performances, the film suffered from poor marketing and a limited audience appeal. Grossing only $205 million, it failed to reignite enthusiasm for the broader DCEU. The pandemic dealt a heavy blow to the franchise's momentum. Wonder Woman 1984, 2020, and The Suicide Squad, 2021, were released during the height of COVID-19, with simultaneous streaming and theatrical debuts. While these films garnered some praise, particularly James Gunn's irreverent take on The Suicide Squad, their hybrid release strategies hampered their box office potential. The failure to connect with general audiences signaled a growing apathy toward DC's cinematic output. More recent releases like Black Adam, 2022, and The Flash, 2023, further underscored the franchise's struggles. Despite Dwayne Johnson's star power, Black Adam failed to achieve profitability, grossing $390 million on a $200 million budget. Meanwhile, The Flash became one of the biggest financial disasters in superhero history, hampered by negative press surrounding lead actor Ezra Miller and subpar visual effects. With each misstep, it became increasingly clear that the DCEU had lost the trust of its audience. The future, James Gunn's reboot and a new beginning. Faced with the undeniable collapse of the DCEU, Warner Bros. Took the bold step of appointing James Gunn and Peter Safran as co-heads of a reimagined DC universe in late 2022. Gunn, known for his success with Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy franchise and The Suicide Squad, brought a unique blend of irreverence, heart, and a deep understanding of comic book storytelling to the role. Safran, meanwhile, was tasked with steering the financial and production aspects of the new slate. Together, they promised a fresh start for DC's cinematic future. Gunn's plan is ambitious, beginning with Superman: Legacy in 2025. This film aims to reintroduce the Man of Steel with a more optimistic and grounded approach, distancing itself from the divisive portrayals seen in the Snyder era. Gunn's slate also includes projects like The Brave and the Bold, which will introduce a new Batman and his son Damian Wayne, as well as films and series focusing on lesser-known characters like Booster Gold and Swamp Thing. The challenge for Gunn and Safran lies in overcoming the damage done by the DCEU's inconsistent history. Audience trust is at an all-time low, and the crowded superhero market, dominated by Marvel and an influx of streaming content, leaves little room for error. However, Gunn's track record offers hope. His ability to balance humor, emotional depth, and character-driven storytelling could provide the cohesive vision that the DCEU always lacked. Despite the promise of a reboot, questions remain. Will audiences embrace a new iteration of characters so soon after the DCEU's collapse? Can Gunn successfully juggle creative and executive responsibilities? And most importantly, can DC finally establish a cinematic universe that rivals Marvel's in quality and longevity? A cautionary tale for future universes. The rise and fall of the DCEU serves as a stark reminder of the pitfalls that come with building a shared cinematic universe. While Marvel Studios succeeded by prioritizing careful planning, consistent leadership, and incremental storytelling, the DCEU faltered by rushing to compete without laying a solid foundation. Executive interference, tonal inconsistency, and a lack of long-term vision undermined the franchise at every turn. As James Gunn and Peter Safran take the reins, the lessons of the DCEU's failures loom large. A cohesive vision, trust in creative talent, and a willingness to build slowly are essential for the new DC universe to succeed. The upcoming slate offers a chance for redemption, but the path forward will require patience, innovation, and a commitment to earning back audience goodwill. The DCEU's journey from meteoric rise to catastrophic fall is a lesson in the challenges of building a shared cinematic universe. For every moment of brilliance, there were costly mistakes and missed opportunities. Now, under the creative leadership of James Gunn and Peter Safran, DC has a chance to rewrite its legacy. While the road ahead is uncertain, the potential for greatness still lingers. What do you think? Can James Gunn bring DC back to its former glory? Or has the damage been done? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you're always up to date on the latest superhero news and deep dives. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.